Welcome to Thrive Chapel, a new church coming to the Cherokee County area in the fall of 2014. My name is Sean Jazik, and I serve as the senior pastor.
And I'm Tara Jazik. And we just want to thank you for considering Thrive Chapel as your home church. We understand the importance of getting to know the leadership and the staff before you make that final decision. So today we just want to invite you in to our story so you can learn a little bit more about us.
I grew up in West Michigan to two great parents, been married over 42 years together. I guess I can't say we grew up in a home that celebrated Christ. I don't remember reading scripture as a family or sharing prayer in the home. I do recall going to church a handful of times growing up. I probably grew up like most every American kid in high school and college, succumbing to destructive habits like alcohol use and drug use and being in promiscuous relationships. And at the age of 20, I was in a relationship with a girl that was very serious and unfortunately ended very abruptly and suddenly. And I wasn't in a place where I could emotionally really withstand that. And it was a dark time in my life. And all that week after the breakup, I considered suicide and how I could end the pain that I was feeling of just being so alone.
You could say I was born on a pew. I lived in a home with both my parents in ministry. We were at church every time the doors were open. But unfortunately, like many teenagers and college students, I had a time where I walked away from God. I was living a double life. I wanted to claim the faith that I was raised in, but I lived my life apart from God.
This week of contemplating ending my life was the darkest time of my life. And at the end of the week, it was Sunday, and I thought, well, trying out at church can't hurt any worse than I feel right now. I sat in the back row and sobbed through the whole service, really unsure of what I was experiencing. And at the end of that service, the pastor had invited people to take the next step with God by signing up for a water baptism class. And took the class and then went to that evening service that Sunday night. And at the end of the service, the pastor that was speaking invited people to respond to Christ in salvation. And I remember thinking, I don't have what he is describing. That's not in me. And I responded to his invitation and got water baptized that night. And I'll never forget coming out of the water that evening, thinking that everything inside of me was new. And after the darkest moment of my life, this was the first time that I felt absolute life.
At age 20, I was in a very destructive relationship. I was miserable, I was far from God, and I knew I wanted to get back to my roots. I found that I could no longer live on the faith that my parents had. I needed to find a relationship with Christ for myself. So I ended that relationship that I was in, and I found a new church. There I was introduced to other Christians who really helped me develop in my relationship with Christ. Everything that I was raised on, I found that I was just building upon. I got involved with small groups, and I got involved in youth ministry and volunteering, and there I just really felt my relationship with Christ just thrive.
After getting baptized, I started volunteering at the church. I attended Bible studies and small groups and really started to feel my life grow with Christ and sensed my calling being formed inside of my life.
So this is where our stories reconnect. The relationship that Sean and I talked about earlier were with each other. Our relationship was so unhealthy and destructive without Christ. When we found Christ and we rededicated our lives to Him, we spent some time apart, but then we ended up finding each other again and dating again, and this time it was so much healthier. And we were married in 2001, and we have two amazing boys.
And this is the vision for Thrive Chapel, to see similar reconciliation of new lives being built in His ancient truths. So we invite you to join us. There's a lot of great churches doing a lot of great things in this area, but with the population of Cherokee County growing like it is, the spiritual need grows with it. We ask and we invite you to join the story of Thrive Chapel. We have so much to learn from the generations that have come before us, and so much more to leave for the generations that come after us. Join us in serving God as He builds a church called Thrive Chapel.